Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I am an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I cannot be any more grateful. We had a fantastic crosstalk meeting last night. Great topics, great dialogue. There's one topic that really piqued my interest, but unfortunately, it's not the topic I want to discuss today. As you remember, we started talking about misconceptions in early recovery, and lo and behold, I'd already planned on talking about this, speaking on this today, but this topic came in. It was the last topic we discussed last night in our crosstalk meeting, and I think it's definitely, again, a topic that needs to be discussed and kind of hashed out. So I'm not here to give you expert advice by any means. I'm only here to share my observations, my opinions, and my own personal experience. The topic that came in last night was on sponsorship, and I thought back to my own misconceptions about sponsorship. I had this idea that whenever I came into the room, I remember an older gentleman told me, he said, "You need to find a sponsor," and I was like, I don't want a sponsor. I don't want somebody looking over my shoulder. I had this idea, this misconception that a sponsor was somebody who looked over my shoulder, who made all my decisions for me, who told me what I could and could not be doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I had no desire, no interest in that at all. I didn't want somebody looking over my shoulder. Hell, no. You know, after all, we're early in sobriety, early in recovery. We didn't like people looking over our shoulders when we were in the madness. So naturally, to me, it made perfect sense. I'm not going to want somebody looking over my shoulder. And come to find out, as I started working my program, I realized, well, that was a misconception. That's not what a sponsor is supposed to do. There's a couple of important things you want to understand. You need to understand, first and foremost, when a sponsor is sponsoring somebody, when they have a sponsee, yes, they are there to help that sponsee. That's why they're sponsoring them, is to help them. But their primary objective in sponsoring another person is to keep themselves sober. So what I'm saying is, the folks that I sponsor, the guys that I sponsor, okay, yes, I'm sponsoring them to help them, to hold them accountable, to encourage them and lift them up, and support them in that time of need that they may be going through within their early sobriety. Absolutely. But my whole purpose in sponsoring them is to keep me sober. I refer people back to Chapter 7 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. The very first line in Chapter 7 clearly states, it's the Cliff Notes version if you will, clearly states that practical experience shows that nothing insomuch ensures immunity against drinking as intensive work with another alcoholic or drug addict. So in other words, the more people I work with, the more chances I have of staying sober. So that's why we sponsor people. Going back to my misconception, I had this idea that a sponsor was going to tell me when to jump, ask me, or tell me when to come back down, to tell me to go pick up their dry cleaning or whatever. I had this idea, this misconception that sponsors were like my drill sergeant, if you will. And that's just not the case. A sponsor's job, their only job, is to talk and to listen, to communicate. That's their only job, to communicate to you. Communicate with you, to talk to you, to offer encouragement, to hold you accountable, to communicate ideas and different concepts, and to listen to you whenever you just need somebody to use as a sounding board. I know I use my sponsor as a sounding board quite a bit. Their job is to communicate, not tell you how you have to do things, but their job to communicate is to tell you how they did stuff, how they did the things that like working the steps. They're there to tell you how they might handle a particular situation that you may be going through, but not how you have to. Sponsors, they don't pay your bills. They don't give you money whenever you need money. They don't go and buy you smokes whenever you might need smokes. They don't tell you what meetings you can and can't go to. I know people that are like that I 1000% disagree. They don't tell you, well, when you go to these meetings, you have to sit beside me. I used to have that misconception too, that whenever I went to a meeting, I had to sit beside my sponsor. That's just not the case. As a matter of fact, I remember having this idea that in order to go to a different meeting, I had to ask permission. No, that's not the case at all. Some sponsors are like that. To me, that's setting that person up, that sponsee up for failure, and that's also setting that sponsor up for a potential relapse. At the end of the day, a sponsor's job is to help the person they're sponsoring, but they're sponsoring that person for the sole purpose of keeping themselves sober. Sponsors shouldn't be telling you what you do and do not have to do. I don't feel that's fair. They're more than welcome to tell you what they would do in that situation, but and what they maybe would not do in that situation. But at the end of the day, the program that the sponsor is trying to teach you is a program of suggestions rather than a program of requirements. I'm out of time. That's all the time I've got for today. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys, absolutely keep me sober, and I cannot be any more appreciative. We'll be talking again soon, guys. Remember, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.